to make this a reality.
I call the honourable member Simon O'Connor.
Mr Speaker, it's probably a bad start, actually, on Women's Suffrage Day that I've interrupted one of my female colleagues in her speech, but there is process. But can I acknowledge, indeed, 119 years since women received the vote in this country, and I think it is important to begin joining with my colleague Judith Collins, who spoke at the start, to acknowledge important New Zealand women and their contribution. In doing so, to acknowledge our head of state, the Queen of New Zealand, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, for her 60 years of service. I think to all of those who are women who sit on the executive, my colleagues who are in cabinet, and to those across the House of all parties who sit here in Parliament, to those women who lead in the judiciary, those who are in the civil servants, and of course to those women who are our mothers, our friends and so forth, and the contribution that they bring. When it comes to women's voting, it's my mother has always proudly voted, and certainly now with myself and Parliament, never shy of an opinion to be shared. Never to be hesitating there. Mr Speaker, I just want to turn to some of those who have spoken in the House around what Kate Shepherd and others would think. Mr Speaker, I always think it's an injustice. It's an injustice to their voice by adding our presumption to theirs. I just want to repeat that for the sake, particularly of those hearing, that when we try to add our voices presumptuously to what Kate Shepherd and others did, that we do them an injustice. We do not know what Kate Shepherd would think about what we do today, and I think that there's a certain arrogance within it. There's a certain arrogance within it. But as we turn to modern day, I think it's really great as a Kiwi and as a Kiwi bloke to stand here to acknowledge all that women are doing in our society. And I think it's the women, certainly within the National Caucus and the body as a whole, who are getting on with the business of getting things done. We only need to look this week at some of the great announcements that have been put forward, including within welfare, within education. We've had some also within the conservation area and so forth. Really great initiatives that are being led by women in this National Caucus. Mr Speaker, we are busy with getting on with the job. We are busy as a National Caucus and a national government of getting on with the job. And I found in recent days, sitting on the Education and Science Committee, we've been looking at the element of digital literacy. How do we encourage young girls and boys to learn to be the future of this country? And we've had some amazing examples of men and women who are working to enhance the digital understanding of our young people. And I mention this because there's a great initiative happening within the electorate of Tamaki known as the Mai Kalani Project, led by Russell Burt and the great team at Point England School. They are getting on with the job. And they're getting on with the job on their own initiative, but also with that wider support of a government that understands that you empower individuals to be the best that they can be. And I may be presumptuous, therefore, to suggest that that was the spirit of the suffragettes, is to empower people to be the best that they can be, operating within this New Zealand democracy. I think too I want to acknowledge people such as Desley Simpson and Kit Parkinson, Colin Davis, Mark Thomas of the local board in Oraki, also within my electorate in Tamaki, getting on with the job, be it our local sports field so that boys and girls, men and women can get out and about, making sure places like Tamaki Drive are open and accessible for all New Zealanders to enjoy and to celebrate. These are Kiwis working hard, men and women in our community working hard and getting on with the job. And it's the national government that is standing there in support as well, that the job gets done for the benefit of all New Zealanders. And I turn finally towards our business. I've been meeting with the Business Association managers across my electorate, Sally and Ellerslie, Wendy and St Heliers and Gary Down and Glen Innes. Again, these are people supporting Kiwi businesses to get on with the job as new businesses are opening in opportunities. And it's been the national government that stood behind them in many ways. We've talked about the 90-day trial period that we've put out, creating more than 13,000 jobs, Mr Speaker. We reduced the business tax to 28 cents in the dollar. Absolutely supporting Kiwis to get on with the job. Mr. Speaker, we reduced ACC levies. In fact, that was Minister Judith Collins, one of the fine women of this House. New Zealand is getting on with the job. Mr. Speaker, we have had great opportunities, and if I draw it certainly from the people of Tamaki and those that I've mentioned, they are getting on with the job. They're getting on with the job with the support of this government, who is absolutely committed.
Honourable members, the time for this debate has expired, so we now turn ourselves to private and local orders of the day. So I call on private and local order of the day number 1.